One game that I've been playing a whole lot of really over the past 2 weeks is the finals. And I'm sure you've probably heard about this. I'm not, breaking the ground here, but I have been rather enjoying the game. So if you've been enjoying the game, hopefully you have been. But I want to share about 7 tips I do have that have kind of improved my gameplay experience, or things that might not be as obvious. But the world is just fantastic, the way you play. You got these different classes, the worlds are destructible, the buildings are destructible for the most part. And that's where the game gets to be kind of just crazy, off balance, and different just about every time you do it. Because sometimes it's very destructible, like if all the teams are just kind of in there destroying everything, it gets kind of crazy what kind of goes on. And just how the map changes with the destructibility of the maps. So moving on with tip number one. Tip number one I do have is highly recommend turning off the commentators. Now, this is where you go into the settings and you just kind of go find the commentators or narrators. I kind of figure what it's called. But turning these, the background narrators kind of off, kind of really helps you be in the game more and hear things that are kind of going on around you. Sometimes they are talking over, when people are around, it's hard to hear things and that kind of stuff. So since you're not really spectating, you're playing, I would definitely say turn those guys all the way off, and it makes a huge difference. It has been much better playing that way. Tip number 2, listen for the audio when the final bank deposit, and this is really kind of more in the case of the bank it game mode, when you get the final depositor getting close to that final bank spot, you kind of hear the audio cue music kind of ramp up, and as they're banking, it kind of climax right as they finish the banking. So yeah, if you listen for that audio cue, it will vastly help to understand if you need to be defending that bank spot and to be looking out for the incoming runner. They got it. Tip number 3. Well, this is really kind of one that is kind of difficult to talk about, because some people think the heavy classes should be nerfed. Some people don't think so. Some people think the light class should be nerfed. Some people don't think so. I think there is a really good balance in the game between the different classes. I really do. I think they did a really good job of it. But the heavy classes, to me, in my opinion, depending on the game mode, are more valuable in the quick cash game mode rather than bank it. Now, I will say I was playing last night and I got randomly put in with myself as a heavy and then 2 other heavies playing bank it game mode, and we were all heavies. And I was thinking we were going to do so bad. We actually wound up winning. We actually went on winning by quite a bit. And basically what it was is anytime we came up against an opposing team, there were a bunch of lights and mediums, and really they kind of just didn't have the HP to kind of take us on. But I think there was more of, they just didn't know really kind of how to take us on, and they just kind of played it poorly, in my opinion. But typically I would say I would use the heavy class more in quick cash than bank it. So that's just kind of the way I go about it. In quick cash, using the heavies is hugely valuable. Tip number 4, sniping does not help. Go get your hands dirty. Now, I'm not saying don't use the snipers, their weapons and stuff like that. And this is probably more for the light class. But the thing about it is, don't be up on rooftops or in cranes and stuff like that just trying to snipe, because you're not really helping your team. You're not helping your team secure an area. You're not helping your team collect coins. You're not helping your team transport coins. You're not helping your team, to defend the runner, run in with coins, or any of that. It is very easy to duck in and out of buildings and break line of sight. So anytime I've had a sniper on my team, they provide no value and I've never won. So sniping doesn't really help. I'm not saying don't use the weapons. I'm just saying, like, the traditional way of sniping is not exactly the best way to go. Tip number 5, use the carryables that are around. There are a bunch of different carryables around. Some of them are, just smoke. Some of them are Some of them are canisters of napalm. Some of them are canisters of like gas that you can shoot and it'll explode. Some of them are poison gas, and some of them are what they call in the game goo. And when you break the goo ones, it kind of makes like a foam wall, a temporary foam wall. That's actually one of my favorite ones. I actually do like to use that because as soon as I get shot at and I don't really know where it's coming from, I can just throw it down and immediately I have a wall to break that line of sight between me and whoever's shooting at me, so that I can now change the rules of engagement into my favor. So yeah, that is, something I would highly recommend. If you're not carrying those, you're kind of missing out on, one of the better things about the game as well. And tip number 6, do not be afraid to blow shit up. This game is so much fun when you just go ham, not just even on players, but really just blowing up the game world and, just making it as crazy as possible, especially for, teams that try to get in and set up like really defined areas of defense or whatever. Just go in there, blow up the floors, blow up the walls, blow up the ceiling, blow it all up, and there you go. You'll find out that they really don't have as best a great defense as what you would think. Tip number 7, the diamond looking like currency, which you get at the end of playing every round. You will also see that I have here a max of 3,000, or that's the most I can hold. When you get this, you use this to unlock new things, new weapons, new skills, new perks, new gadgets. So you don't really want this to be maxed out because then you can't accumulate anymore. So you want to make sure you are kind of constantly unlocking things, whether it's on the class you like to play. Like I find myself, I actually do prefer to play the medium class, but I do unlock things on the heavy and the light because I do like to mix it up and go play on the light and heavy classes every now and then. So I do make sure I do go unlock those things on those classes. So make sure you are spending that diamond-like currency. I don't even know what that diamond-like currency is called, but make sure you are spending that. Make sure you don't max that out because you can't accumulate anymore. So those are the 7 tips I do have for the finals. Really, it's just get in there, have fun, mix it up. It's a lot of fun to play with people, but you definitely don't have to. I guess maybe a bonus tip if you really want to know is if you are kind of playing solo, I prefer the bank it mode myself because I can play a little bit more solo in that mode. Quick cash is definitely very much more of a team organized type of game mode. At least that's what I've kind of found out. Now, if you do have a team, you can play either one, obviously. But if you were playing solo, bank it's probably going to be your best bet. So, yep, there you go. I enjoyed it. The finals. It's a great game. Blow shit up. Make things as awkward as possible for enemy team. And yeah, just a great hell of a time. Alrighty, take care.